When you walk into a room, how do you read it and how do you begin creating relationships?
Well, it starts with this belief behind me. And then I like to use sarcasm to help people get out of their own way.
I love that.
So let's say that I was coaching you. I'd say,
Yeah.
hey, Blue, what is the likelihood when people go to a networking event, their goal is to meet 0 people?
0. Right.
Do you think everybody's like excited to get out of the side of their comfort zone and go meet people they don't know?
Nope.
Instead of listening to that voice in your head that's just noise, that's providing negative thoughts and negative content into your subconscious, just say, hey, voice, go after yourself. I'm going to go meet 5 new friends today, and I can't wait.
What if asking for help was the bravest thing you could do? Casey Jacox was a college quarterback chasing dreams of glory until a devastating injury sidelined everything. Watching teammates thrive while he sat on the bench, he wrestled with envy, shame, and doubt. But when he finally opened up to his coach, he was not met with judgment, but with a new purpose. That moment changed everything. Today, Casey is a best-selling author, keynote speaker, and relationship-building expert who teaches others that vulnerability isn't a weakness, it's a superpower. Casey's story is a powerful reminder that your real strength might be waiting on the other side of one honest conversation, only on Navigating Now. Oh my goodness, I am so excited to have you on here, Casey, because today we're talking with someone who knows the value of both trust, both on and off the field. You're a college quarterback. You played at Central. You're a top performing sales leader and author of Win the Relationship, Not the Deal, which is a book that you gave to me and I loved it. But you're also the host of Quarterback Dadcast. And so you as well are a podcast host. And we were introduced to a friend of ours, Chad Murphy, who heard you speak. And you're such a magnetic personality. And I loved our conversation before we came on. And it's just really cool to get to know you and your story. And you kind of do what I do. And you just have a different journey and a different path and how you explain it as a speaker. And you're just an awesome guy. And I love that you wanted to come on here and be a part of this. So thanks so much, Casey.
Well, I'm grateful for the invitation. I'm grateful to Chad for saying, hey, do you know Blue Stiley? I said, I love his name. I want to meet him just because of the name. Like I've known, but in all seriousness, I'm very grateful, and I'm excited you're going to be a future guest on my podcast. So the roles will change, but I think what you said too, I wanted to say is, we maybe do the same thing. I love that you said that, because like just like you're doing for me, and I've done for many other people. The thing that attracted me about you, Blue, is like you seem like you have a mindset of abundance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have a mindset of abundance and you help others and you serve others and you don't worry about, I always say, don't keep score, which seems maybe like risky for others. I think it's the exact opposite. I think the more good you put in the world, the more you go out of your way to help people, even potentially your competitors at times.
100%.
The universe pays me back.
Yeah. Well, and like with the speaking, for example, like Starbucks isn't going to hire me year after year to come and speak to their entire crew, right? And so they're always asking, like, well, do you know another speaker? Well, I'm like, yeah, actually, I know Casey, right? And so I can't hold on to that client forever. And so to be able to share it just makes the community better, and I can learn as well, right? And obviously, I want the client to learn and get more out of it, more value.
Because you win.
Yeah, you look good in their eyes, but then also I help you, for example, or vice versa. And it's just building a better community. And I love that you mentioned that.
Spot on, brother.
Well, speaking of spot on, your mustache is legit.
Thank you.
When we first talked, you did not have that thing.
Yeah, this thing, it's real.
Okay.
For the record, it's not a glue on. And I don't know when this episode will go live, but I am, for those scoring at home, I am on the west side of the mountain of Washington. I'm in a small city called Maple Valley. But me and my son are diehard Seattle Mariner fans. And if anybody follows the Seattle Mariners right now, the majority of the team has mustaches, including our manager, Dan Wilson. So Cal Raleigh has a mustache. And so my son and I were like, and my son had a disgusting mustache because he doesn't quite have the facial hair that I have because I'm obviously 50 and he's 19. But I'm like, bro, why don't we like go with the lucky stash for the Mariners and see what happens? He's like, yeah. And my wife's like, no, we're not doing that. And so I go, honey, it'll grow back. So this thing is 2-0 right now.
Oh, and that's awesome.
I trimmed it up a little bit today, but I forgot before when I made this asinine decision about the mustache is that I was going to be on a podcast. I've done 3 this week,
Yeah.
and I'm going to a conference in a week and a half where I'm moderating a panel, and there might be like potentially a couple hundred people in the room, and I'm like, oh my god! But
No, you
at
rock
least
it.
they'll remember me.
Oh, 100%. Anything that's memorable is going to make you referable, right? I
Yeah.
love that. Well, we just went over to Seattle last weekend. We went and saw the Savannah Bananas.
Oh, fun.
It was so exciting, and there were plenty of mustaches there as well, but it was like just such a great experience. And somebody asked me like, what is that experience like? And you might relate to this, Casey, is that speaking from the stage, you can talk all you want, and as long as you have this valuable message, it's kind of nice. But there is something different between a speaker who can provide an experience to the audience, right? A transformation through experience. And I've always wanted to be that person where there's someone behind the curtains pulling the strings, right? And it's like creating more memory and value to the person who's going, entertainment wise. And it was interesting because I've tried to do that with my speeches and just to bring more to the audience. And what I noticed is when we were watching the Savannah Bananas, it was like they were doing the magical show. It was like a carnival, and it felt like everyone there, including the audience, all of the attendees, it was like how you act in the shower when no one's watching, right? And it was the coolest experience, from music to singing out loud to dancing. And it was just, if you have not had the opportunity to see them, Casey, it is phenomenal. And I would promote them to the end. It's so great.
I would love that. I have friends that went. I'm blanking on the guy's name that started it, but he accepted my LinkedIn. Yeah, he accepted my LinkedIn, but I'm like, he'd be a perfect guest in the Quarterback Dadcast, or maybe he's a perfect guest for you.
Mm-hmm. No,
On your show.
he's fantastic. And he looked at like what circus acts do, and because his story, just like yours, is just like resilience, and it's like going above and beyond and like figuring out what works. And his story is just excellent. And so if you have an opportunity, I would definitely go and see them.
I would love to. I was out of town, but it's on the list to do, and you just solidified it. I'm going to go see him.
There we go. We'll get Jesse Cole on here for sure. So if anybody knows him, send him my way for sure. Well, let's dive in and let's get into how the audience can learn a little bit more about you and your story, because you have a fantastic story about an injury in football. And it basically changed your life. And I would love for you to explain that.
Yeah, I love telling the story. So, Division II athlete, played at Central Washington, like you mentioned. And I think most Division II athletes, we have a little chip on our shoulder. Either we were Division I prospects that said you're not good enough, or your Division I prospects that got hurt. Like me, I was getting recruited by UW, kind of under the radar my senior year, and then some Big Sky schools, and then Central was the only school to let me come to play because I didn't have any film. So fast forward, rewind the story. So I was my sophomore year in high school. I was competing with another kid my age, and he was bigger, faster, stronger. My sophomore year, I was the sophomore quarterback for the sophomore team. He was a sophomore, but playing on the JV. So in theory, like the script's already written. Like I'm screwed. He's the same age. He's gonna start.
Sure.
I didn't even think about that. I just thought like, he's better than me. And then I wasn't like thinking about for her. I was just thinking in the now. And then the last game, my sophomore year, I ended up playing well. And one of my coaches came up to me, Coach Charlie Canoon, if you're listening, he goes, Jacox, your stock's rising. I'm like, what the hell does that mean? I didn't even think of the stock market.
Sure.
Just so naive. And and then my head coach, Marty Osborne, said, hey, we're going to open this up. And if you want a chance to start, here's what you have to do. So you got to I would not play baseball or basketball because you can be average at all three, or you have a chance to be really good at one. You pick.
Sure.
So they did a really good job of helping me create the skill of visualization and mindset and committing. And so I literally had all my goals that I had to do: my bench, my squat, my clean, my 40 time, my body fat, all these things. I would lift weights Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I would throw on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, all these skills that now would help me later in life. Well, fast forward story, I ended up winning the starting job my junior year. I ended up beating this kid out. And there was high drama in the local paper, and they didn't announce till literally Tuesday of game week, first game. And we've had an average year, and then I went on to go to a couple camps my senior year, and went to University of Washington camp, ended up winning this big award at UW camp. I'm like, oh my God, now I'm on their radar. Well, fast forward the story, we had this thing called Jamborees in the Seattle area, and it's like a mini game, practice game before the regular season starts. And we played against like Brock Heward's team at Puyallup, other couple schools, and we were like throwing the ball over the yard, lighting it up, putting points to the board. Shane, the guy that I beat out my junior year, he was now playing tight end for us, and he had a great couple games. Well, the last play of the Jamboree, I for some reason get put back in. And it was a pass play. Lee Wright and Andy Reid still remember it to this day, years ago. And for some reason, why it was called, I don't know. But the snap was slow because I was working with the JV line. The snap was slow. The nose guard dives through the gap. His knee gets on top of my toe, so I can't move. I almost get put into a catcher like a baseball catcher would sit. The defensive end comes around. I'm stuck. I can't move, and blasts me from the back. Blue. I felt like the tongue of my shoe flew off.
Oh.
And what flew off was essentially 4 bones in my right foot breaking immediately that I didn't know they were broken. I try to stand up, collapse. Try to stand up again, immediately go into shock. I'm like, oh, this is not good. Trainer comes out like, yeah, I think you're gonna be fine.
Because you can always stand up after,
yeah.
Right?
Out, and then like an hour later, we're getting ready to leave. I can barely walk. I'm on like crutches. Like something doesn't feel right. We go to the ER, and I'm in like tears in the back seat. My mom and dad take me to the ER, and the doctor comes out. They take X-rays. He's like, I got bad news. You're done. You broke 4 bones in your right foot. You're going into surgery here in an hour.
Oh.
And so like the amount of hard work.
Too.
Pardon me?
This is the start of your season. Like
my senior year. Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm done. I don't play. So my dreams of playing college football, done. All the hard work. I mean, I lifted weights on Monday, Wednesday, Friday before school at 6 a.m. and Monday, Wednesday, Friday after school. And I threw on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. Like I squeezed every ounce of athletic ability out of my body, Blue. And world moves on though.
Mm-hmm.
So Shane now is our starting quarterback. He moves from tight end. He's got to go play tight end and be tight end to quarterback. And I'm like, well, what about me? And the world moves on. And after first game week, I'm like on crutches, and deep down, I'm like, I hope he plays like shit. Sorry for swearing. I hope he does bad. He does great. We win. Next game, I hope he does bad. He does great. And as he's doing great, my depression's going down. My depression's going up. My anxiety's going up. I'm like feeling worthless. I'm almost like depressed. And something, now whatever, call this a God moment, universe, humility, I don't know what you want to call it, but something inside me says, you got to go talk to coach. Like I kind of heard this voice in my head.
Well, because you're feeling all these emotions and you're not sharing it with anybody else, right? I mean, you're just kind of internally, and call it Schadenfreude, or you want other people to fail because it makes you look maybe, oh, okay, I deserve that. I need to be in his place. Mm-hmm. And you're starting to question that, because I think we've all been there. I think we've all been in that moment where we're like, oh, we don't want somebody to succeed because they took my place or whatever. So I'm sure these are the things that are going through your mind, and you decide to go talk to the coach.
Yeah. So I go up to coach early one morning. I walk into Coach Osborne's office. Now Shane's already watching film with him for the game week, which made it even worse.
Right. Insulting.
I go, Coach, can I just and I'm a captain, by the way. And I go, Coach, do you have like 10 minutes? Can I talk to you one-on-one? He's like, sure. Yeah, Shane, can you give us a minute? Sure. And I go, hey, Coach, I just want to let you know I'm hoping he plays I hope he gets hurt. I hope you guys suck. The thoughts that are in my head are the most embarrassing thoughts ever. And I have to just get this out because I'm just frustrated. I don't have a role, and 17 and immature. I'm just like, I let this vent.
Yeah.
And all Coach Osborne does, he looks at me and goes, man, I'm so proud of you. I go, how could you be proud of what I just said? I am the worst captain in the history of captains. I'm the worst teammate in the history of teammates. He's like, no, you're not. What you're doing is you're asking for help. And this is what the power of vulnerability is. And we're going to find a role for you. I go, what kind of role? I'm hurt. I just bad attitude. He's like, Case, you know this offense better than me. Why don't you go up in the booth, be my offensive coordinator, help me call plays? I'm like, wait, what? It was like a vacuum. I get goosebumps telling the story. It was like a vacuum sucked all that energy out.
Negative energy.
100%.
Yeah.
Now I had purpose. I was a captain again. It's like almost like plug my battery back in. phone was charged full. I was ready to go. And so like, I remember I could not wait to get to practice. I could not wait to tell him about my new role. I could not wait to like coach Shane, like be the rah, just be a leader.
Mhm.
And that experience, man, taught me that we're only as good as today, and life will humble you before you know it. And so you might as well stay humble, because life's going to humble you anyways. And so like that mindset, that negative experience of going through, which was a positive experience that
Mhm.
it's realized at the time, I think completely helped me out in business, have probably more success in my corporate career than I ever thought I would have. But I relate it back to the journey of that injury, the journey of going to Central and being 12th in the 12th of depth chart, because they had no film. They had no idea who I was. And
Mhm.
just slowly start chipping away. So yeah, that's a story, man. And I feel like it was just like yesterday. I live in it as I tell it.
Well, and it's one of those defining moments of where like everything is set against you, the biggest struggles, and you're depressed and you feel horrible and you don't know what to do. And what I love that you did is you were like, your coach called you out on it, is you were vulnerable. Like, you, if you ask for help, most people will help you. Because you're not supposed to take the entire world onto your shoulders by yourself.
Right.
And you're not the only person who's ever gotten injured and lost some kind of a scholarship or some like first round draft pick. I mean, there's so many stories like that where people are trying to get into something and they missed their flight. And so then somebody else got it. And it's like, that is life. And
Yep.
being able to roll with that and be vulnerable and not hold it inside internally and being able to vacuum it out, that's amazing. Do you still talk to that coach?
Oh yeah. Yeah. 100%. Marty Osborne. I keep in touch with him. All my high school coaches, they were huge mentors for me, but
Mhm.
he was actually on my podcast. I wanted to be able to thank him. Had him on like in season 2 or season 1.
Mhm.
And he comes to watch. He watched my son play high school golf, who's now in college. He's come watch my daughter, because he was the athletic director at my high school where he's there. And we go to a competing high school now, my kids.
Uh-huh.
So he'll come to like a high school game, watch her play hoop. And it's super fun. And it's fun for me to be able to let my kids see the story when, like, as they're getting older, like, man, I can't imagine what that was like, Dad, to go through. I said, well, this is my mentor. This is a guy taught me about goal setting. Same things I'm teaching you guys, I learned it from him. So it's like, I think we all have this ability in life to send the elevator back down.
Mm-hmm.
And we all have one thing in common: we're all flawed. So I think once we can kind of all come to grips with that, and this goes back to why I love, when you and I connected, we kind of resonate, because that mindset of leadership, tying what we talked about to leadership and how this helps companies, is leaders sometimes don't talk about where they once sucked or where they struggled. And I think, why wouldn't you do that? Like, why wouldn't I air myself out and say what I was a horrible teammate? If it helps someone get out of their own way,
Yeah.
world's a better spot.
Well, and I love that you say that, because in all seriousness, it's like when you're in that depressed mode and you're feeling like lost, and if you can reach out to somebody who helps you, it really does bring you up, but then it also brings them up because they know that they've made a difference in your world, right? And it's like, it's for you to be able to have the ability and the honor to be able to have him on your podcast and say thank you. That's like one of my biggest things that I always preach to people, is that, like, reach out to the people who have affected you or made an impact or influenced you or changed your life in some way, and let them know, because we all want to know that we make a difference. And it's like, how awesome is it that you get an email or a letter, or someone calls you and they say, I just wanted to let you know that this one thing you said, this one thing that you did, the way that you put your arm around me and walked me through those doors when I was scared and terrified, changed my life. And it's like, when you are the recipient of that, it's like the most amazing feeling ever. And it's all because of vulnerability. And it really is. It's like, if you put up your borders and you put up your force field, nobody would know. And you have to be vulnerable. But that's that stacking on that relationship building. Like you had mentioned, like, oh, my kids now see my coach and know the history of me and what it was like. And moving back to Spokane, I felt that way because I moved back from from Seattle for 30 years. And it was like, I didn't realize the power of all of my childhood network that I had. And all of my friends who have known me since I was a kid and know what it was like to get my driver's license together or to fail my black belt test or all of these things. And they've experienced all of these traumas and struggles, and they were they were like ride or dies, I guess is what the kids call it these days.
Yeah.
And how amazing that they were those people that I can now lean on as well. They're part of my confidence team. Or I have a mentor and I can mentee someone as well. And sounds exactly what you did. And how awesome is it that your kids can see that?
Yeah, it's fun. And funny you mentioned letter. Like when I got done, before I went to I haven't thought about this, you made me think of it. When I went to college, I remember writing him a handwritten note and just saying, thanking him for the opportunity. I said, now, you've helped open the door. It's for me to go kick it in and make the best of the opportunity. And being grateful is such a powerful superpower, and I would say being humble and curious and vulnerable at the other two, but three, but when you have gratitude, which is why I encourage people to do a gratitude journal. I do a gratitude journal every week, every day. And the first thing I say is, God, thanks for waking me up today. And I find myself almost smiling with gratitude. It's like, because it's like you have something that you can go do something big. And the word behind me that says believe. I think when you believe what you do matters, you have belief in yourself. That's also like inspiring for me, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But if you haven't thought of people in your life who have made an impact on you, pick up the phone and call them,
and share it.
Share
it. It's spreading kindness. It's spreading that appreciation, that gratefulness, that thankfulness, and it just makes this world better. And it makes us realize that, man, I've done something with my life, and I can continue doing it. Right? Yeah. Like, because if you get that little nugget, you're like, oh, maybe I can help somebody else. And
being nice and being kind will never be replaced by AI. So.
That is very true. Very true. And well, ironically, you wrote a book, right? And you speak, and a lot of people are like, well, how is AI changing those things? But before we get there, I want to shift gears just slightly and just talk about so this traumatic experience where you realized that you had self-worth, but you didn't see it at that moment, right? Mm-hmm. You did not see it. And it almost had to be shown to you in a different way, a different perspective. And then you went that way, but it gave you the stepping stone or the confidence or the skill set for you to be able to take your next moves, right? And to continue your path of a high achievement of whatever it is that you set your goals out. It wasn't become a quarterback anymore. It was like become X, Y, or Z. And you obviously pivoted in your life. And so what did you learn from that moment? Did you mentally journal that, or did you actually journal something? You mentioned a gratitude journal, but how did you begin to apply that in corporate and in sales? Like, how did you make the switch easily? You're like, that was an aha moment, or what gave you the skill set and the confidence to be able to apply what you had learned on the field and take it off the field and to share it?
I think, what helped me in corporate, I think, is like when someone says, hey, I'm not sure you're the right guy. Like, I remember the first job, I worked for a company called K-Force. K-Force bought the company I was with called Hall Kenyon. That K-Force acquired Hall Kenyon in June of 2004. I would leave there in March of 2019. What helped me though is, setting goals in football. I had still to get clear goals in business. The power of saying, I will become our starting quarterback. Same thing as I will become our number one seller one day. I will get into, I want it versus I want to become a starting quarterback. I will get into that account. So the power of saying, I will, every word we say matters. Realizing that, hey, I just won number one. I was like, oh my God, I did it. Well, great. We just beat Western. We got to get ready for Simon Fraser next week. Great. We just beat Simon Fraser. We got to get ready for Western Oregon next week. So it's like the mindset of like, it's not like I'm not grateful for the game we just played, but I don't have time to celebrate that until the end of the season. Mm-hmm. So it forced me to like have that next play up mentality. You're going to have good meetings. You're going to have bad meetings. You're going to have good throws. You're going to have bad throws. You're going to throw interceptions. We're going to lose an account. Being able to be resilient and lean back on the grit that took me to get through that injury, the resilience to bounce back, the humility to ask for help from my coach. Same thing, the humility to ask for help from my business leaders, other sellers that were more experienced than me, maybe asking help from a client. Mm-hmm. And I think just focusing not about the money, not focusing on the rewards that came of it, but just focusing and falling in love with the fundamentals is not sexy as that sound. That's what I do. Blue. I love the fundamentals because they work.
Well, and that goes back to the old saying about 3 yards, 3 plays at 3 yards is almost a first down, right? And so if you can always guarantee those 3 yards consistently moving forward, you're going to get a first down every time when you have the ball. And it's about having a formula that works for you and you can begin to apply. But it's like you're on the field and you're reading the entire field the whole time. I mean, as the alpha quarterback, it's your job, especially as the captain, to read the field and to be able to pivot and move. Is that something that you also took? Like, because you were a captain and because you could read a field, could you read the corporate side just as well? Or was that an easy transition for you?
I wouldn't say it was easy just because nothing's easy with it. You got to work hard. But I think, being in an industry where my product was people, I mean, I was selling staffing services and consulting services, which we had no control. And a lot of times I can't control what the defense is going to do. I can't control once I throw the ball, I can't control if my receiver catches it or not. I can control how I respond if they drop it. I can control how I, ask just, it reminded me of like control the controllables or control what you can control. And when I worked with like a recruiting team, like I in staffing industry, I'd have to go out and find a client. And then the client would say, hey, Casey, yeah, we need to hire X people. Then I'd have to work with my recruiting team to like then build that solution. We'd go back to the client. So it's the same thing in sports. The quarterback never throws the ball to himself. I got to rely on offensive line to block, just like I have to rely on my back office to help provide me technology. I got to rely on my accounts payable to get the invoices on time. I got to rely on accounts receivable to receive the money on time, to get my commissions paid on time. Definitely think that the team sport element of playing quarterback and being in leadership roles helped dramatically. And another thing I always wanted to take with me is I never wanted to be that guy that'd be like, God, he was such an a-hole. Yeah, he won every year. But I wanted to be the guy that like, wait, that's Casey.
Yeah.
He's like the most humble guy in the world. Like, and my CEO used to tell me, so I was lucky enough, I won this award 10 years straight. And he would say, one of the very first things he said to me is he goes, wow, you had a great year, but you're so humble about it. I was like, ooh, I like that. I wanted to be that guy. The next year, Casey, you had a bigger year this year than you did last year, and you're more humble. I don't get it. And that's what drove me blue. That the feeling that it was never about me. It was about all the people around me. I know that sometimes these are cliches, but I believe that deep down in my heart, like when you are obsessed with humility like I am, if you're obsessed with curiosity and vulnerability, they're superpowers. There's literally superpowers in life. And I think that's what changes cultures, changes relationships. And it's probably why I'm having some of the most fun I've ever had in my entire business career. I'm not making the money I made in corporate, but I'm having the fulfillment I have, and the currency of karma pays me back tenfold each and every day.
Well, it's funny you mention that because you talk about the currency, and it's almost like your love language, or it is what I call find your currency, and like what works for you, what drives you and pushes you. And obviously like it's so funny because I played football, but I was not a good football player. Karate was like my thing, right? And sports taught me so much. Martial arts taught me so much. And all these fundamentals and these processes and formulas and how to act on and off of the dojo mat. And it sounds very similar to like what you were doing. But what's interesting is that as the quarterback, you almost feel like that's the alpha spot, right? And who more than that would be the person who would be stuck up and too cool and not want to share and not be vulnerable and have something to prove, right? And it's like, it blows my mind whenever I meet someone who doesn't look like the book on the cover, right? Like all of a sudden they're like, wow, that person is not what I expected. I misjudged them. And I can learn so much from them. And being that person sounds like that's your why or your purpose, right? It's like, that's what fulfills you. And it sounds like you're doing that. And you've done that not only through your career, but you also did it with your book and teaching other people and sharing those little formulas and things that you learned on the field and through life. I mean, it wasn't just like, it wasn't one coach and one experience that taught it, but it's like you're consistently learning and you're consistently improving. And it sounds like now you're just sharing that in a bigger platform and you're enjoying the process much more than whether or not you're getting paid more.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely had a lot of fun without my corporate journey, but at the time, probably like the last few years, I was like, as corny as this may sound, but there was like a voice like, time to go, time to go. Because I don't like being the smartest in the room. I like being the dumbest in the room.
Hmm.
I want to be the slowest on the track, not the fastest. And at the time, I mean this with all humility. At the time, I was one of the smartest in the room. I did have a lot of the answers, and the feeling of when you can surround yourself with others. And so when I left and then learned, I didn't know how to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know how to start a podcast. And even the speaking and coaching I'm doing now, I did not mean to do this. Like this found me. I don't know how it found you, but this found me. And so, and every customer I've worked with for the last 5.5 years has been personal referral. And it's like a calling.
Mm-hmm.
But when you can find ways to like Ted Lasso teaches us, be curious, not judgmental. Just curious to learn more, curious to see a different perspective, curious to get out of your own way, curious to say, hey, is there something I'm doing today that's I should stop that might make a relationship better, or make my relationship with my wife better, or make my relationship with my kids better, or whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stuff that I think is like super fulfilling for me at this phase of life. And when you can help younger people with less experience just change their perspective a little bit and just realize that these fundamentals still work. These things you and I are both talking about still work.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of technology changes, they still work.
Well, let's dive into the relationship building, because I believe that the Japanese believe in a mentor-mentee relationship. And so the day that I walked into a dojo, I was assigned a mentor or a senpai. And I could immediately begin learning from that person. It was their job to teach me the basic fundamentals. And then once I learned them, it was my job to pass them down below me, and vice versa, like top down and bottom up. And the relationship that I created was with each and individual people, like within the dojo, but then with my instructor, is what made it so fun for me to go. Like I felt like I belonged to something for the first time. Like I was excited to go. Just like what you were saying is that as soon as you found another purpose, but being the captain, you were excited to go. You wanted to go back into the gym. You wanted to help other people. And it was like they would save a seat at the table for me. And I never wanted to leave because I had found my home, what brought me the most value. And I loved that as a kid. And it was about the relationships. And we respected each other. We wanted to emulate each other. We all wanted to be ninjas, right? And we loved each other and admired each other and trusted each other. And we had empathy with each other. And it was like when you have that bond and that magical experience with people, that's when the oceans rise, all the ships go up. And it sounds to me like you found that within yourself, and you didn't know that you wanted to be an author, but you're doing that. And it did fall into your lap. And so how was that as a struggle? What was the point where you were like, you were making good money doing what you were doing? And then what was the jump off the abyss for you to say, I think I can do this? I have the belief in myself, behind you, the sign. What made you make that jump of faith?
Well, the book. So the book, let me restate the book. I knew I wanted to write probably 7-8 years before I left corporate. I just didn't want to write it at corporate because I didn't think that was fair to me or my company to be distracted.
Sure.
So I
you
waited
don't want to be looking at the computer for another job while you're looking at another job. Yeah.
Right. But and I think I referenced in the book the kind of like that Clark W. Griswold when he goes hunting for his tree in the movie Christmas Vacation and he sees it and it's glowing. When I said the phrase to one of my teammates in Dallas and I was training him, I said, hey guys, we have to win the relationships. It's more important to win the relationship than the deal. And I was like, that's it. That's the name of the book.
Mm.
And so, but to answer your question, what finally made it is I was just, I squeezed every ounce of I had, and I was done. And the voice kept getting louder and louder. And then I had a customer, a vice president, one of my biggest accounts. She goes, Case, can I be honest with you? Like when I talk to you, it's different. When I talk to everybody else at your company, it's not the same. And I almost got defensive about that. Like, why would you say that about? And then she meant it nicely. Like things I was saying or doing was just different, and doesn't mean it was good or bad. It was just different. And she goes,
you're standing out.
She goes, go out. I want you to go change the world. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, Oprah, like how am I going to change the world? But like, it's funny. But now after almost gone for 6 years, Blue, like this book, what my big stretch goal is, it's going to be right next to Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and I'm 92. Yeah. Now, whether it is or not, I can't control that, but I can see it in my mind.
Yeah.
Because the 6 things I wrote about are 6 things that I didn't create. I just got really, really good at them and made them a huge priority in my life. And there's 6 things that people from the 1400s have been talking about.
Well, yeah, there's so many ways there's only so many ways to do something, right? And you're talking about Win the Relationship, Not the Deal, which is a great book. And I think you're right. But the way that you deliver it is unique because it comes from an authentic person. It comes from a real story. And there's only one you. There's only one person who has experienced that trauma, that coaching moment, that mentee relationship, that depression. And that is what stands out. And that's relatable, Casey. And that's what I think is so magnetic about you, is that you're able to read the room and connect with everybody and create that relationship with people and the audience and with your clients. And I think that's what makes you stand out, is that everybody has kind of been you in some form, right? Not everybody's been Bo Jackson where they could choose 5 different sports and be this, but everybody can put themselves in your shoes. And then for you to know that you could be back in their shoes, I think that's the difference. That's that relationship that is so important to you. And so I wanted to ask you, like, when you walk into a room, how do you read it and how do you begin creating relationships? So like if you were to tell a client, for example, like, oh, when I go into a networking event or when I'm at an all managers meeting, I like to sit in the corner like I'm in high school and I don't want to go ask the girl to dance, right? Like I'm embarrassed, I'm shy, I don't have the confidence. Like, what do you tell people to get out there and be vulnerable and just go talk to somebody and be your authentic self? What do you deliver? What is your secret recipe for doing that?
Well, it starts with this belief behind me. And then I like to use sarcasm to help people get out of their own way.
I love that.
So if I was, let's say that I was coaching you, I'd say, hey, Blue, what is the likelihood when people go to a networking event, their goal is to meet 0 people?
0. Right.
Yeah. And is their goal to be like, do you think everybody's like excited to get out of the side of their comfort zone and go meet people they don't know?
Nope.
We all on the same thing.
Yeah.
So instead of listening to that voice in your head that's just noise, that's providing negative thoughts and negative content into your subconscious, just say, hey, voice, go after yourself. I'm going to go meet 5 new friends today, and I can't wait. And you have to just tell yourself a story, and then just go, and then realize that, you know what, we're all in the same boat in this thing. I like asking open-ended questions. I have a framework I teach that I got taught called TED, stands for Tell Me, Explain, Describe. I might go up to you and say, hey, Blue, tell me what's one reason you decided to come here tonight. Oh, great. Tell me more about that. Second level question. Most people don't do. I've learned in life. Most people ask one question and they want to, but when you ask the second, third, tell me more, describe why that would be important to you. Oh, wow. Tell me who else you've met here at these events. Tell me how long you've been going to these things. When you go in curious with belief and you don't listen to that voice in your head that's telling you something that's not true, watch what happens. And perfect doesn't exist. But if I go meet 1 or 2 people that I didn't meet, great. You already got better. If I went in and you asked a question that, hey, tell me what's one thing you've learned from coming to these events? Great. Awesome. Maybe you can apply that in your own world. So I try to tell people, when I did some brief work for Russell Wilson's company called Limitless Minds, I worked with some pretty cool brain science people. And one of the things I learned was the number of thoughts these people told me, and I've done some research to back it up, is 80 to 90,000 thoughts are the number of thoughts we have a day. And of those thoughts, 75 to 85% are negative. Wow. So at least when you know that to be true, and one of the stories I share is the Bill Buckner story. Do you remember Bill Buckner?
Mm-hmm.
The air, and people don't know, he had an air ball goes in between his legs, 1986 World Series. He said to lose World Series, well, actually lost Game 7. That was the game they lost, but he gets so much
blame.
Yeah. But what people don't know is that 19 days before that game, he was asked in an interview by a Boston radio station, hey, man, you're in the World Series. What do you think about this? He's like, it's like a dream. Ever since a kid, I've had the dream I'm going to hit a home run to win the World Series, but I also have a nightmare that I'm going to get a ground ball hit to me between my legs. It's going to lose the World Series. So did he manifest it? Maybe. Was he a prophet? No, but it's proof that when we tell ourselves stories that don't exist, we can bring them true. Same thing when you tell stories that maybe haven't happened yet, that you will, or you can see yourself doing, you can manifest that too. Just like I manifested becoming the starting quarterback, just like I manifested being our number 1 seller at a publicly traded company. Believed it. And if I didn't know how I was going to get there, but I went and asked for help, surrounded myself with people who would help hold me accountable.
Well, and you continuously improve that group, right? Like you continuously add to it. And the only way that you can do that is to create those real, genuine relationships with those people. 100%. Well, it's like the self-talk is so important. And I remember my martial arts instructor said, he would say, like, can't means won't, and won't means push-ups. And man, we did a lot of push-ups. A lot of times it was like, I didn't want to say that. And so I would pass that saying down to my kids and my students. And it was like, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to fail. Like the worst thing that's going to happen when you go up and talk to someone at a networking event is they don't talk, right? You're like that awkward silence, right? But the best thing that's going to happen is you're going to meet a new person. You're going to have a relationship with them, and it could be amazing because you never know when or where you might meet someone who can change your life. You don't know if that will be your next coach that helps you get the next job that you want, or has an in, or can push you in the right direction, or gives you a new skill set that you didn't know. And so I hate when I hear people are so afraid to put themselves out there and meet people, because you are who you are because of all of the people in your lives. And that's how we've gotten to who we are. And if you set up those walls, you're never going to continue growing. And you've mentioned that. And it's like, you have to be willing to put yourself out there, because anyone and everyone can change your life, and you can learn from every single person. And that is the reward of making a real and genuine relationship, because when you start to add more than one question to a person, and it's not just like, hey, how are you? Good. And then you walk away. It's like being able to play tennis back and forth, or to continuously put the kindling on that fire and get a huge burning fire. That's a genuine relationship with someone. And that can only come if you guys keep both adding the wood or the fire or the kindling onto that fire.
Well, I think about one of my mentors at the end of my corporate career. He said me something that really stood with me. He said, it's okay not to know everything. It's just not okay not to do anything about it. And that really hit home. And if people are listening, like I would argue all day long with somebody if they say, I hate learning, I hate growing. Really? Why? Like anytime you learn a new skill, your confidence goes up.
Oh, 100%.
And you feel better. It's like, oh, I just did that. Like, I didn't know how to start a podcast when I first did one. Was it scary? 100%. But if my college teammate, Ty Nunez, didn't say, Jacox, we're going to figure this thing out. I'm coming to your house from now, and we're going to buy the equipment, and we're going to freaking figure it out. Okay. So grateful for him forever.
Well, and I'm sure your first one sucked. Like, it wasn't great. It didn't sound great. The lighting was off, right? And so you have to start. That's the power of starting. And then what I hear you also did is you connected with someone who you guys could do it together, and you guys could figure things out together, and you're already cutting time in half. And I would suggest that if you have someone in your life that might produce a podcast and can do it professionally. Like, I hired my Brennan. That's what I did with Spokecast. I was like, you know how to do this. I don't. And I don't want to take the time to learn how to do everything, but you can cut time off of my schedule by, you're skilled. You have all these professional, you are a professional. And so it's like worth it to me to bring him on. And it's like, the reason I am where I am right now is because of him doing that, right? Wasn't me. It looks the way it looks. It sounds the way it does because of him. If not, I would have started off and my first podcast would have sucked. I'm at I think 55 episodes, and I know you're well above and beyond that.
But it's like I love that you said start. You can't let the start stop you from starting, and perfect doesn't exist. And when you mess up, give yourself grace, but then go do something about it. And there's a framework that I also learned that I love sharing. This is I call it give two, take two, which is anything you can get in life. You'd say, tell me, maybe you and I, we're selling together. We go we meet with a customer and we get out. We could say, hey, that was pretty good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty good too, Blue. Hey, tell me two things you thought I did well in that meeting, and tell me two things I could do differently, better to be a better teammate in the next meeting.
Oh, that's fantastic. Okay, so give two, take two.
Yeah.
And that, do you apply that with anytime that you're doing anything like any skill set building like that? I like that.
Anything. So when I first learned this, it was mainly for internal reasons only.
Yeah.
And I learned it from this external this vendor that we use at the end of my corporate career. But I was like, well, why can't I use that externally? So then I started, even when we would win a deal, I'd say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, thanks for, choosing us and da, 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 da. Tell me 2 things I could have done differently or better to make your experience that much better. Great. Tell me why. And if you're genuinely curious and you genuinely check your ego every day, realizing that perfect doesn't exist, and you genuinely want to get better and you genuinely are open-minded to people's feedback, you're going to get it. Right.
Well, yeah. And you mentioned the check the ego at the door, right? Because like you're only going to be as good. There's somebody who's going to be better than you. And so right away, if you know that there's going to be somebody better, it really can help you check that ego. But it's like that give and take. It's in the speaking world. One of the things that I love to do is I reach out to the event planner that brought me in or the client that brought me in. I say, everybody wants to hear the great things that I did, right? Like, tell me everything that you took away and what was awesome. And that's one part of it. But I love the second part, and I do this naturally, but I love the give to and take to, is that what's something I could improve? And it hurts sometimes to hear it. You're like, oh, maybe I didn't work the stage as well, or maybe I say all the time or something. But I'm not going to know that unless I'm told that. And it's not, and if you ask for it, it almost seems like positive criticism, right? Constructive criticism comes back.
Well, I think for me, I do it because it's a way to walk the walk. And so I share this with people on ways to check their ego, on being vulnerable and being humble, like ask for that. Mm-hmm. And so like, for example, at Chad, where I told his leader, thankfully, was the event went great, got great feedback. But I told her, I said, listen, I know I messed up today. I know there's something I sucked at today. That's okay. So in the feedback loop, I'm going to ask you to give 2 things you really took from my message today that hit home, and 2 things where I was like, it could have been better. I went up and ended up talking to a guy, and I asked him, and he told me, he goes, Casey, there was a couple of, have you ever thought about Toastmasters? I go, no, my dad did that a long time ago. He's like, you might think about doing it, because at the beginning I don't know if you were nervous. I wasn't nervous, but I listened to him. He said, you said some ums. I was like, hey, appreciate the feedback. It's really, really good. Now I'll be thoughtful of it next time. Maybe that's ways I practiced before I went, but maybe I could practice more and really hone in. Did I say ums? Did that detract from what I was doing? Maybe for some. Now I know you're not going to win everybody in the room, right? But I think when you teach this stuff, you got to be willing to walk the walk and hear it yourself. And I think we're all full circle. Blue comes from is my college football coach. He told me, he's Bo Baldwin. He goes, if you ever have to tell me how good you are in this game, you're not that good. When you're great, I'll tell you.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And that just hit home for me. I don't even know if he remembers telling me that, but it hit home for me. He used to coach Eastern, by the way.
Huh. Okay. It's all of the, like, you had mentioned this also, is that just start and you're never going to be perfect. Right. And so when I get out on stage, the only people who are going to know that I messed up during that speech, for example, is myself. And so I'm the only one who can be self-critical on like what I did wrong, unless I ask for that feedback. Right. Mm-hmm. But they're all wanting me to succeed. And so you had mentioned that, like, when you're at a networking event, like, how many of you here came to meet somebody? Well, everybody's going to raise their hand. Well, who here doesn't want to not meet somebody, right? Well, everybody's going to raise their hand. So it's like, once again, if I already know that when I go out on stage, everyone wants me to knock it out of the park, they don't want me to fail, right? And so it's like, oh, that relieves so much stress off of me right away. Cool. And then knowing that the only person who's going to know if I mess up is myself, but I can have these little tics and I might stumble my words, or I might do something. The worst thing that's going to happen is that's what's going to happen, right? I'm probably not going to vomit on stage or fall off stage, but it's going to happen because I've seen it. But it's like these little things, but those are the things that stand out to other people that you can improve, but only if you know them, if you're vulnerable enough and humble enough to realize, like, I'm not perfect, but I want to become better.
Mm-hmm. Can I share a story real quick?
Please.
So when you said that, you made me think of it. So my buddy's daughter, we go to this place on the East Coast called Cuttyhunk Island. And this framework, Ted, explain, describe, is a curiosity framework I teach that I got taught that I think is like cheat codes for life. It's just ways that really changes the way we have conversations. And this is like probably 6 years ago. And his daughter at the time was going through a tough time. And so I told him about this stuff, and I was like, "Have you tried these TED-based questions?" He's like, "What do you? I don't know. It's gonna work. Do you mind if I go in the car with you? We'll take her to guitar lessons, and I see if I can get to her." He's like, "Whatever, man."
Oh, awesome.
And so now I play guitar, self-taught. And so I go, "Hey," that's her name. I go, "Tell me, you excited for guitar?" "Yep." "Tell me, was it ever hard to learn that D G C transition?" "What?" "Yeah, sometimes when I play guitar, because I'm self-taught. I mean, I'm so jealous of you. You got to go to take lessons. Tell me what's your favorite song?" I just kept asking TED-based questions. At the end of the car, right now, all of a sudden, we got a relationship. She's like talkative. My buddy's like, "Dude, what was that?" Well, fast forward to later that summer, because I saw them in June. Later that summer, I go, "Anna," I'm gonna say her name, Anna. And his deck is like this big wraparound deck, and people are having some soda pops. And I go, "Let's go jam session." She's like, "No, I'm not playing. No way." I go, "Anna, tell me how many people here play guitar." She's like, "I don't know." I go, "I know. Want me to tell you?" She's like, "Sure." I go, "Two, me and you. So if you mess up, the only way they're going to know is if I tell them. And I promise I'm not going to tell them. So how about this? You're a better guitar player than me. You got a better voice than me. That's truth. So why don't we go out there? I'll do the first song. I'll do like, American Pie or, something, Country Roads. And then I'll kind of show them what JV looks like, and then I'll introduce the varsity. Then you come out after me. Just let me go once. And then she's like, "Come on, Anna, just once. I promise. I won't say anything." She goes out there. And after I play, I go, "You guys want to hear Anna?" And they're like, "Yeah, we want to hear Anna." Guess how long we played for that night?
I'm going to say a half hour or 45 minutes.
2 hours.
2 hours. I don't even know that many songs.
2 hours she played. And next thing you know, two of her friends come up who have amazing voices that I didn't know had amazing. And they're like just killing it. I'm like, my buddy's like, "Jacox, you're like the Ted Lasso of Cuddy Hunk."
Oh,
now,
that's awesome.
That felt good for me. That was not the goal I did it. The goal was to get someone outside of their comfort zone, to get unstuck and to go put their skills out there. And now she loves playing guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But it aligns with everything we're talking about. Like if she would have let the start stop her, or if she would have like the self-talk, but we all struggle with things. We all have self-talk, but like you got to put one foot in front of her and just try.
It's so important. And I want to highlight that some of our greatest memories in our lives are the times that you can be free and you can do when you know that there's no ramifications for whatever it is that you do, how you live your life. Like if you don't know that, if you know that tomorrow may not be promised, what are you going to do today? Right. And it's like to be free and to have somebody who pushes you past that comfort zone and says, the worst thing that's going to happen is I might be able to tell everybody that we're not a good guitar player. And those experiences are the most memorable. I mean, and I'm sure every listener here has an experience where you went out for a cabin weekend and they were like, "Come on, let's go water skiing," but you don't want to because you're afraid because you don't know how. But then all of a sudden you get up on the fifth time and it's the greatest time ever. And then you get like, it takes you over to this side of the lake, and I'm making this up as I go, but it's just like this experience. But then all of a sudden you run into this other group and then you become best friends for life. And it was like, if you had not done that one thing and been open to trying new things and stepping out that comfort zone, you wouldn't have that memory. And I remember those, and she will remember that more than any time she ever went and practiced with a coach or some lesson of some kind. It's like those experiences, and everyone there at that party is going to remember that too.
Well, full circle. How are we here together? Chad Murphy.
Yeah.
Chad Murphy didn't have to say, "Hey, Casey, you should talk to Blue." "Who's Blue?" "Oh, he does you do." "Oh, I'd love to talk to him. I love connecting people." "Oh, really?" "Yeah, sure." You didn't have to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to send you my book. You didn't have to send me your book. You didn't have to invite me on your podcast. I didn't have to invite you on your podcast. I don't know what we're going to get out of it, but I'm open to find out.
Well, I that is so true, because and you don't know who you're going to meet, and so be open to meeting those relationships. But it even having you on the podcast and you're sharing these little nuggets that I want the audience to take away from. And one of the things you mentioned was the TED. And so can you kind of dive in a little bit more about that? Because I think that that's so important. I think that's a takeaway that I want people to hear.
Yep. I learned this at age 41. I wish I would have learned it in my 20s. I practiced TED-based questions on my kids. So imagine if you're a mom or dad and your kid comes home, you're like, so you're my kid.
Mhm.
Blue, hey man, good to see you. How was school, buddy?
It's great.
What'd you do?
Ate lunch.
Shoot. Did you have fun?
Yeah, it was okay. I ate my favorite Oreo.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll go outside and play, or go play Xbox. We'll see you at dinner time. That might be a normal family. Okay?
Yes.
Hey, Blue, tell me 2 things that made you smile at school today.
Oh, when I got dropped off today, Mom waved me a kiss and then made me come back and get a kiss in front of everybody, and I actually loved it.
Oh, tell me more about that. I mean, that might be simple.
I was embarrassed, but it was like when I got out of the car, you called me over and I realized, like, man, how awesome is it that my mom wanted to get out of the car and give me one more hug. And then because of that, my friends saw it and they were jealous that they didn't have that relationship with my mom. And then they gave me their Oreos while I was at school.
Yeah. So, I mean, we just joke around role playing this thing, but like the goal is when you ask tell me, explain, or describe, not a can you tell me, because that's a closed-ended question. We modified it to make a open-ended question close. But tell me, explain, describe offers a lot more communication. It makes it less about me, more about the person I'm talking to. And if I truly am listening, which means I put my phone down, I turn my notifications off, I'm looking someone in the eye. Mm-hmm. And when you hear something that they tell you, the number of times I'd say, oh, wow, tell me more about that. They've never said, Casey, go after yourself. I don't want to tell you more about that. Yeah. I always do.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
I
Same
love
thing
that.
when I'm trying to, like, hey, tell me, oh, you're looking for a speaker? Oh, tell me 2 reasons why. Well, this and this. Tell me what in all your events you've had, describe what makes a successful speaker for you. Mm-hmm. Tell me where you had speakers that has not worked well.
You're learning about their pain points, but you're actively listening. You're genuinely interested in what they're saying. Not, let's say, to close the deal, but you're creating that relationship. And it's creating, and I just want to highlight that it's, and I do that naturally. And I love that Ted, tell, explain, describe. Mm-hmm. It's like you're getting all of these nuggets from people and it's just making you relate to them. And something is going to stand out where you're like, oh, he loves baseball. I can't grow a mustache like him, but why did you grow that mustache? Right? Like, what did you? But then all of a sudden we start talking about Savannah bananas. And it's like, we had a 50-minute conversation and it all started with your mustache, honestly. So that's coming full circle. And it's like getting to know people and getting to know that you have a relationship with your dad or with your son. And it's like that, it's so important, and highlighting that is so effective when you're communicating with somebody else and genuinely listen to that. So I love that. I'm going to start to apply that for sure.
Yeah. It sounds easy in theory. It's hard to do. It takes practice. So give yourself grace, but most people in the corporate world, they don't practice. We were in sports in junior high, we had to practice, or high school we had to practice, but we get in this corporate world, we feel like we can just wing it, which is a mystery to me. Mm-hmm. But yeah, tell me, explain, describe. I wish I would have learned it earlier. And the other thing I'd say is I'm asking these questions because I believe what I do matters. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking these questions never to close a deal. And I always tell my clients, I've never closed a deal in my life.
It continues.
No, the clients close themselves. If I ask great questions and tell stories of how I've helped people like them, they're going to say, "Oh, I need this."
Yeah.
And if I'm not the right person for them, you tell them the truth, which is why I give that example in the book. I give an example where I said no. Client wanted to hire me. I said, "Too much risk. I'm the wrong guy. This is not a good idea for you." And you walked away. And I think the more you can do that, you're going to be uncommon to people, because most people, when they think of sales, they think of, "Oh, he's trying to close me. He's trying to convince me to do something." No, I'm not. I'm trying to help you solve a problem that I know I can help solve because I've done it for other people, or my company's done it for other people. And I believe in what we do. Then if you believe in what you do and you know you can solve a problem, why wouldn't you go tell people that?
Well, and you're getting behind what you believe in, right? Like, I'm not going to sell you something that I don't believe in. And Jane Atkinson came on and she's the Wealthy Speaker podcast host. And she's talking about, like, speakers sometimes can pigeonhole themselves, or they take a job that really isn't right for them. And then it shines, right? I mean, it comes out that they didn't belong in that spot. And it's like honing in on what you're really good at and being okay with telling someone else no, because delivering that no can be just as hard as receiving a no. And even though it might not be you're getting paid, but you're doing the right thing in the end. And we discussed about being an actor, and you take a role just because you want the money, and it's just a horrible role, and then you get pigeon-toed and everybody remembers you as that actor. And it's like you can ruin your career based off of something like that. Or you can make the client look bad, and that's not what you want to do either. You have to be honorable and humble enough to be able to explain that what your skill set is and what you can bring in value to them, because in the end, you want them to benefit.
Yeah, it'd be like Will Ferrell saying yes to playing Stevie Wonder. Probably can be a tough one to pull off.
Maybe he's a good actor, right? He can grow that stash too. I love it. Oh my God. Well, Casey, I think this conversation could keep going, and I want it to, and I would absolutely advise everybody to get a copy of the Win the Relationship, Not the Deal. Where can people find out more about you? Where can they get your book, and where can they find out about your coaching and consulting side?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you for asking. I'd say the book is on Amazon. It's in paperback. It's in Kindle. I even did the Audible version myself. It was a really fun experience to go through and narrate it myself. That's a great way to do it. If you like podcasts, if you're a dad and you want to learn more about 320 something dads I've interviewed, which Blue will be there in the future. Episodes come out every Thursday morning on Apple, Spotify, or all the main wherever you podcasts are consumed. But the best way to find me, I'm very active on LinkedIn. So find me or just go to my website, which is caseyjacox.com. And there's links and videos to my coaching, the speaking, the book, the podcast, etc. But I will promise that if you reach out and I'm not the right fit for you, I'll help you find someone else. And I accept majority of the people that send me LinkedIn notes. Just specifically write a note though. Tell me why you want to connect. Make it a little bit uncommon, and say you found me off of Blue's podcast, so we know that we can direct some traffic back to him for that's how you found me. So that's probably the best way to connect with me.
Well, I love that. And I do know that you genuinely react to everybody and you respond to people. And so that just shows your character, number one. But number two, you told me something once that you said you manifest of these podcasts guests, and you had mentioned that you have a list above you of people that you want on the podcast. And so who are those three?
I mentioned Will Ferrell to you,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Bateman.
Mm-hmm.
I put Will Arnett. I also have Jim Nance. I have Jason Kelsey. I have Troy Vincent from the NFL. I have Joel Damon who's from Spokane area, and Gino, his caddy, from the Lewiston area. So that's the list right now.
Brennan, if you know any of those, let us know.
Do you want me to say something?
Heck yeah, you can say something. This is my producer who's always silent through every
I'm actually
episode.
really good friends with Joel Damon's brother.
There you go. See? But that's the power of asking, Casey, because if you don't ask, people won't know. And you put yourself out there and be vulnerable. And that right there shows the power, right? And Will Ferrell, I have a connection with SNL. And so I've told you that I might be able to do that. But it's like, if you don't create conversation and ask that, I don't know these people, and so, but maybe somebody else does, you don't have the answer to everything. And so, but maybe somebody will. And it's only if you ask the right person, because you never know when or where somebody's going to hear or listen to you or see you and be able to help you. And I love that.
You got it. I mean, the worst they're going to say is no. That's how I got Lofa Tatupu on my podcast.
I saw that.
I got Seth Davis from CBS Sports, March Madness. I just had him on. You never know. You don't ask. And that's the one thing I like about, and it'll be fun to, switch roles, as I think as it relates to fatherhood, whether you're a podcast host, a speaker, Joel Damon, doesn't matter. We're all dads.
Yeah.
And that's the number one job we have. And so that's what's fun, to be able to kind of humble the room and realize that your kids don't care what you do. You think they do because your male ego says they do, but what they care about is, hey, can we get Slurpees tonight? Hey, can we get ice cream?
Yes. And one thing I got from Mr. Rogers is putting yourself down on that child's level and seeing and intently listening, right? And you mentioned that TED, it's like, it's all about the kid and the experiences, because I remember everything my mom did for me, right? And all the stories, and like taking me out for Chinese food in a movie and seeing Star Wars 16 times, right? Or Empire 12 times. And it's just like, I love this thing right here is from my mom, right? She bought it for me when I had my a tooth extractor or something when I was a kid. And it was just like these little bitty memories. And she knows it. And she knew I loved Star Wars. And so what better way to connect with me? And so being a parent is amazing, whether you're a mom or a dad.
Love it. I'm going to call my mom afterwards, tell her I love her. Thanks for that, Blue.
You're welcome, Casey. Thank you so much for being a part of this today. And seriously, I'm looking forward to everything that you're doing. And I want to share the stage with you one day, brother. Okay?
Let's go. Let's make it happen.
All
Write
right.
it down.
Thank you, Casey.
See you, man.
Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Navigating No. If this episode brings you value or you know someone who could benefit from it, the best way to support the show is by sharing and subscribing. It's completely free and helps us reach more people. And if you have any questions, feedback, or guests you'd like me to interview, drop a comment while you're there. I'd love to hear from you. And most importantly, thank you for tuning in. And let's continue sharing optimism and positivity.